In the middle of 2022, Hersheypark surprised all of us, announcing the closure of Wildcat. When Hersheypark announced this, we all knew what was coming. And now we have this beautiful creation to look forward to in 2023. And this looks like it's going to be a very promising coaster, and I think it's going to be one of the best coasters in Hersheypark's lineup. But for today's video, we're going to ask the question, what's next? I don't normally do speculation videos like this, but I've had many people ask me to do something like this, so here we are. If you don't like the video, you only have yourself to blame. This is the top 5 most likely coasters coming to Hersheypark after Wildcat's revenge. Now before we go time traveling into the future, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button.
I'm watching you.
Also make sure to give the video a nice big thumbs up, helps the channel fight against the YouTube algorithm. Sorry guys, I keep meaning to silence my phone before I ever start recording. Okay, hang on one second here. Let's ER down. That would silence him. Yeah, suck it. So if we're going to predict Hersheypark's next coaster, let's see what they currently have. Hersheypark has 3 wooden coasters with Comet and both sides of Lightning Racer, 2 hyper coasters with Candymonium and Sky Rush, both offering very different experiences, 1 inverted coaster with Great Bear, 1 launching coaster with Stormrunner, 1 multi-looper with Fahrenheit, 1 kiddie coaster with Coco Cruiser, 1 RMC coming with Wildcat's Revenge, and various other filler coasters that kind of go from mild to some more thrilling attractions like Laugh Track, we got Jolly Rancher Remix, Trailblazer, Super Duper Looper, lots of filler stuff there. So Hersheypark is already pretty stacked when it comes to coasters, but they have a few gaps in their lineup. I'd say the 3 biggest gaps that they have is a multi-launching coaster, a flying coaster, and a dive coaster. So before we go into what I predict might be coming to Hersheypark next, let's rule out a few options. First and foremost, Intamin. I'm pretty sure Hersheypark's not going to work with Intamin anytime soon. So Intamin is off the board here. What do you think, Bulby? Do you think Intamin's off the list here? That's what I thought. Oh, okay, I'm gonna put you down a little bit. You're a little bit spicy today. So yeah, no Intamin for Hersheypark anytime soon. And given that they already have 3 wooden coasters in the park, I can't see them working with Gravity Group, GCI, or any other wooden coaster manufacturer anytime soon, so I'm gonna take any wooden coaster manufacturer off the list too. I'm also going to take Gerstlauer out of the equation too, because they already have Fahrenheit. Most things that Gerstlauer makes is pretty similar to Fahrenheit, even though it is an Intamin coaster, but it is pretty similar to a Gerstlauer coaster, so I'm taking Gerstlauer off the list too. I'm also going to take Mauer off the list too, because they already have Laugh Track from Mauer, and Mauer doesn't really make too many other things that could properly fit Hersheypark's lineup, so no Mauer here. So for all of these predictions, I'm not really going to give a time frame as to when these could possibly be added to Hersheypark. Also keep in mind, I'm not saying that these predictions are going to be the next attraction at Hersheypark. There could be a few smaller attractions that would come to the park before any of these could possibly show up at Hersheypark. These predictions are strictly the next major coaster that could possibly be added to Hersheypark. Alright, my number 5 prediction would be a Mach Hyper coaster. Now this may seem like an odd pick, but hear me out. Now just imagine a park with 3 different hyper coasters, all of which offering very different experiences. You would have Sky Rush, which is the more extreme hyper in the park, offering intense ejector airtime and just being an overall crazy machine, and remaining the highest thrill attraction in the park. Then you'd have Candymonium, which is the more mild hyper, and then you have a Mach Hyper coaster, which would be kind of somewhere in between Sky Rush and Candymonium. And this hyper coaster would focus primarily on airtime and inversions. This could also be a good fit for Hersheypark because there's no other Mach Hypers in the country. The only kind of coaster in America that's similar to a Mach inverting hypercoaster would be Steel Curtain at Kennywood, but if Mach put an inverting hypercoaster at Hersheypark, we know that they would do a better job than SNS did. My biggest doubts about this prediction is that Hershey hasn't really worked with Mach all too much in the past. They have Wild Mouse, that's really about it for Mach. And a Mach Hyper would be pretty expensive, but I'm pretty sure Hershey can definitely handle that cost. Another doubt I have about a Mach Hyper coaster is that it doesn't really fill any gaps that Hersheypark currently has. Because Hershey already has 2 hyper coasters, and they already have multiple coasters that go upside down, so it doesn't really benefit them too much to do this, but I still think it would be pretty cool to have one of these in the park. This prediction is more so just kind of wishful thinking. My number 4 prediction would be a Premier's Ride custom multi-launching coaster. I could see it being something like Full Throttle, or something like West Coast Racers where it's a dueling aspect to it. I think either option would be a great fit for the park. And obviously this would fill the gap for the multi-launching coaster in Hersheypark's lineup. And my only doubt about this prediction is that Hersheypark has never really worked too much with Premier Rides before, but Premier Rides has a pretty well-established reputation in the industry, and I'm pretty sure that Hersheypark would take that into consideration. If Hersheypark does get a coaster from Premier Rides, I only have one request. For the love of God, no comfort collars. Even SeaWorld knew it was a bad idea. My number 3 prediction, it's a little bit odd, but again, just hear me out. Number 3 would be a Vekoma flying coaster. Not this dude, that dude. And you could possibly fill in 2 gaps with 1 coaster. You can make it a multi-launch coaster and have the flying aspect too. There's nothing else like it around the area, nor in the entire country. And even though one of the biggest competitors, Six Flags Great Adventure, has a flying coaster, a Vekoma flying coaster is a very different experience than a B&M flying coaster, so I don't see that being a problem at all. My only doubt about this prediction is that New Age Vekoma seems to be a pretty big rarity in the United States. I know we're starting to see a little bit of New Age Vekoma coming here, but I'm not quite sure how soon we could possibly see something like this come to Hersheypark. But it would be amazing if it happened. My number 2 prediction would be a mock multi-launch coaster, something along the lines of Copperhead Strike. And again, there's nothing really quite like this in the area that Hersheypark is in. It'll give Hersheypark the multi-launch aspect. Maybe you can throw in some hang time based inversions in it, because Hersheypark is still pretty lacking in hang time. We got Wildcat's Revenge, but it's only got 1 hang time moment. The more hang time, the better. My only doubt about this prediction is that capacity wouldn't be the greatest on this coaster. It wouldn't be terrible, but given the large volume of people that Hersheypark gets on a regular basis, it may not be the best selection, but I think it would be passable. And overall, this would just be an awesome addition to Hersheypark's lineup. To our number 1 spot, and this prediction has been speculated the same by many other people, and I agree with them on a lot of this. So my number 1 pick would be a B&M dive coaster. B&M dive coasters seem to be making a comeback in the United States, but in a much smaller scale version. This of course would fill in the gap of a dive coaster in Hersheypark's lineup. Dive coasters are big crowd pleasers and they are capacity machines. And Hersheypark already has a great relationship established with B&M, and it's rumored that they're still currently under a 3-coaster contract with B&M, so it would make sense that pretty soon that they would get another B&M coaster. Now, out of all the models that B&M offers, I think a dive coaster is the most likely option. I can't see them getting a B&M Flyer since Great Adventure has one, and we haven't seen a new B&M Flyer since 2016. A wing coaster is possible, but Skyrush is already advertised as a wing coaster, so I'm not sure how that could possibly work with marketing. Floorless coasters, that's not happening. And a surf coaster, it could possibly work, like maybe if they put it in the boardwalk section of the park, but it's a little bit too new of a model, and I don't think Hersheypark would go that route yet. So if Hersheypark goes with B&M, a dive coaster I think is the most likely option. And this too would be on the smaller scale, I would say maybe about 150 feet to 180 feet, and with 6 or 8 across seating. My only doubt about this prediction is that their competitor park, Dorney Park, is rumored to be getting a dive coaster in 2024. However, these are only rumors, nothing is confirmed by Dorney Park yet. While it does seem to make sense that Dorney Park is getting one, we just don't know for sure yet, but that's really my only reservation about it. However, if Dorney Park does end up getting a B&M dive coaster, I don't see Hersheypark getting one either. Seeing that Hersheypark and Dorney Park are direct competitors, I don't see them adding 2 similar attractions like that. But as of right now, that is only a big if. Well, there you have it guys, those are my top 5 predictions for Hersheypark's next coaster after Wildcat's Revenge. What do you guys think of these predictions? Do you agree with some of them, all of them, none of them? Comment down below what you guys think. Alright guys, I've wrapped the video up here, hope you enjoyed it, I'll catch you guys in the next loop. See ya!